I could tell you a whimsical tale that's probably very inaccurate.
The Sensible Sociopath.
2, 3, 1, go.
Roma, the podcast is here!
It really never gets old.
Sorry about those jokes I said earlier about babies with both sets of genitals.
What does that even mean?
You know, I'm willing to risk my life for this podcast, Roma.
Ugh, that sounds insane.
And I'm also willing to risk your life for this podcast.
There's a difference between like uncomfortable and creepy.
Anyways, that's why I think pedophilia is just a sexuality like any other.
It was kind of traumatizing.
White people are bad and do bad things.
Periods are not just for women.
Take off their underwear and relax with their uncles.
How fast can I eat your ass?
I mean, you know, you look at me and you go, this is an international man.
My whole life is a sham.
And you can't get the white Oreos, that's racist.
I think I counted like 25 racially charged jokes.
White privilege allows me to turn off someone's headlights.
I was just being agreeable.
Roma, when was the last time you were agreeable?
It's been days.
Also, if you try to poop really hard, sometimes you'll come.
You would think that we'd have our shit together.
It's the enema for your face.
Yeah, I was gonna say cleanings for women.
I'm not a lady, Roma.
Oh, this is so gay.
Let's try to be inclusive, Roma.
What does that even mean?
Real mature, Roma. Roma, when was the last time? Let's go ahead and mute that. Hello, everyone. And welcome to the Sensible Sociopath podcast. My name is Steve.
Hi,
and this
Steve.
is episode 63.
Woohoo!
Our co-host today is John.
Yeah, what's going on?
John
John.
hails from the United States of America.
So far,
How fancy.
I know. So far, I do. We'll see.
Our podcast is so eclectic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Can anybody else hear that?
I don't hear anything.
Good. That's exactly right. Yeah, so today, Roma is producing, our in-studio producer,
Hi, guys.
master of all things electric and such, and visual auditory.
Yes.
So, happy Friday to everyone.
Happy Friday.
Word.
Now, John and I were talking earlier.
Okay.
John's performed for a living,
Okay.
Yeah.
both as an actor and an improvist,
Mm-hmm. Little stand-up here and there.
stand-up comedian,
Yeah.
a comedian,
Yeah.
you might say.
Comediacs. I mean, that's like probably the term I would prefer.
Yeah, it's non-binary.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've done a little bit of that, a little bit of those things, nothing to the level that you have. But we were talking about, I guess, what is it? Well, I was leaning towards the alternative rubes, the woke comedy, all that. And we were sort of talking about how people feel entitled and that they should get their trophy. And that maybe sometimes people go into things not for the right reasons, like it's your passion or it's
Right.
something that you feel strongly about.
Right.
But maybe you just want to go up on a stage and complain
Yeah.
and
Yep.
do the same thing that you see on TV or hear over and over again just to get your accolades.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird, right? Because I've seen it in theater, and I've seen it in improv, and I've seen it in stand up, and there's just a type of person that will show up, and it's just like it's not even about the art. It's just like this person is desperate. They're looking for any kind of outlet, and you can almost smell like when I've gone to open mics in the past, like. They'll introduce somebody, you see them come to the stage, and I can just I read body language, right? Because I've been an actor since I was like 13 years old. Performing for over a quarter of a century because I'm old. You could just see body language. Like I can see it. Like I'm a body worker in my profession too, so I'm like used to structural assessment, reading people as they are walking towards a clinic, or whatever, or reading people on stage.
Their gait.
Yeah, you can just tell a lot by a person how they move. Like, and I'm just like, they have this like frenetic, like I become, because I'm an empath, I become like nervous for them. I was like, oh shit, and I can just tell. I'm like, oh fuck, like this person, I'm about to hear some shit, some incel, like fucking rage or some shit is about to, especially with the males, more so than the females, like males.
And when you say incel, what do you mean?
It's these people that are hanging out in 4chan in grandma's basement that are just mad at women.
Okay.
And just mad at the world.
Involuntary celibate, right?
Yeah, and they're just these people are owed something, and especially amongst the millennials, man. Like the
Yeah.
millennial incels are like even worse
And
because it's all the entitlement and that anger.
where do they fit in the social justice hierarchy? So are they part of like do they act as male feminists?
Not even.
No. Okay.
Like they're like in a category of, like, when I've seen this, like over a couple years that I've done stand up, and like when I've seen it in improv, which I've done a lot longer, like you can just tell that people have this. It's like a vibe, man. It's like an aura that they, and like I'm just like, oh fuck, you're about to say some horrible shit.
Yeah.
And like we're all gonna have to hang out for 3 to 5 minutes or however long
Yes.
your time is, and you're probably gonna run the light, like, and it's just like, and we're all not by choice.
Yeah.
But by necessity, and I'm like later on down the list, so I gotta hang out and stay here, and like I gotta hear this.
And when you say running the light, so what the light is a light that you get with 1 minute left in
Yeah.
your set.
Yeah.
And generally, there's a pretty tight time frame that you have. I mean, sometimes it's only 3 minutes, which is not a lot of time
No.
if you have, something prepared. If you're up there with nothing, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time to stand there and sweat. But for the most part, if you have something prepared, you're blowing through that time in no time. So you have to really respect that light because there is other people too.
Yeah, like I always like try to like make sure when I'm doing a mic, like I'm like, okay, it's 5 minutes. I've got this bit, this bit, this
Yes.
bit. When I get the light, I'm like, okay, I can move to this closing bit that I have, and maybe it's not even going to be a good closer because it's an open mic, right? I just
Yeah.
like you just want to see what sticks.
Yeah.
I always consider a success if I'm doing 3 minutes. If I get a laugh, I'm like success.
I
Like-
always aim at the 2 drunk single ladies in the audience because
Yeah.
they're usually the only ones who aren't comedians.
Yep.
There's 2 heavy set fat white ladies
Yeah.
in the audience,
But
but they're a great audience because they're drunk and
yeah.
out to have a good time.
Well, again, like open mics and like improv shows, it's like the same thing. Like you've got like a couple audience members, and that's usually it's other comics or other improvisers that are watching an improv show or watching an open mic. So
Yeah.
it's your peers, right? And so especially with stand-ups, like they don't laugh at anything, man. And
Yeah.
if you do get them, like them, like dude, this for a real audience is going to be good because they like this.
Sometimes. But
Sometimes.
sometimes, because I was doing a joke that was based upon Predator, the movie Predator.
Oh, fun.
And let's see.
George faggots around here.
Sorry, I had it
This
muted.
A goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me.
But Jesse the Body Ventura and Schwarzenegger, and it was just how one was the governor of California and the other was the governor of Minnesota. I don't know. It was very loosely put together, but I got some comedies or comedians,
Yes.
comedians to laugh at it. And that felt really good. That was like the best thing ever. But the 2 ladies in the audience didn't get it.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the thing.
They don't
You
get
have
movie
to-
references from 1987.
Yeah.
Losers.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to like what I found like in my brief time as a stand-up, because I've done the other stuff for a lot longer, but stand-up I've only done for like a little over 2 years. And what I found is like you have to make sure, like I always try to be like, can everyone get on board? Like sometimes you can make a really kind of a real specific reference.
Yes.
Especially like, but again, as part of it is like you're feeling out like, okay, is this the audience that's going to get that Predator joke? Do they know?
You hope.
Right. But again, like sometimes in some of my jokes, I'm like, oh, okay, like this is a Gen X audience. Like if I say this, it's gonna land.
Yeah.
If it's a bunch of they're not gonna know.
If it's a Beavis and Butthead joke or a Daria
Right.
joke,
Like-
it's gonna clean up.
Gen X is gonna love it. Like
If-
millennials are gonna be like, I don't get it, or I'm offended, which is worse.
I made a Netscape Navigator joke one time, and one Jewish guy was cracking up. It was in this big conference. No one else got it. I was like, he gets it.
Yeah. Sometimes
The
that's
nerdiest
best,
guy
though.
in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like you want to make sure that all your stuff can land. And once I started doing it, I was like, oh, like you're pretty much gonna get up in front of any audience and like you'll survive. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna make it, and it feels really good to have a good night. You know what I mean? To have a good setup there. Like,
Yeah.
and
It's so hard to get, though, too.
It's so hard to get.
Yeah.
And like when you fail, it's like, oh, it's like, again, like I was telling you, like for me, like stand up was like the cruelest teacher.
Yeah.
Like it was cruel because I didn't get good even as an improviser and as an actor, it's just a totally different muscle and a totally different skill set. And it took like just months of just eating absolute shit, just like
Of
trying to
eating
figure
my
out
own ass.
how do I like. Well, yeah, pretty much. It's just like how do I let myself come through my joke and like connect to the audience that way. But once I started to figure it out, I was like, oh, this is how you do it, or this is how I do it. Like, and
That's a very artistic way of looking at it. How do I connect with my audience and make myself come out? I'm like, no, I just got to power through with these dick jokes.
Right. But again, if that's you,
Yeah.
dope.
It
you know
is.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if that's you,
That's my voice.
Yeah, that's how I speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Mostly in semen.
Yeah. Just fly it out
It
everywhere.
just comes out. It's just
Sorry
COVID,
for your
COVID
shirt.
particles attached to it. And
Yeah.
It's just that's how I roll.
Now you have a podcast, I've heard.
Yes, I have two that I do.
Oh,
one of
double fisting,
Yeah, exactly. That's
we call it
people like it.
in the biz.
It's the 2020. It's a new century.
Uh-huh.
So one podcast I do a podcast called Massage Maniac. You can find that pretty much on every platform except Apple because I'm a moron and haven't figured that out yet. But yeah, so I talk about, because I'm a massage therapist in my day-to-day life, so I get on there. I just basically push record and talk a bunch of shit, and then I talk about a specific muscle and do some science at the end. That's pretty much what I do. I'm 14 episodes deep, and it's going really well. Like,
Okay.
I have a lot. It's been listened to in over 10 countries. Like it's doing well. So definitely check that out. Especially if you are into health and fitness, but you also like things that are funny.
I clearly am.
Right. Yep. Opposite. You're ripped.
I know, right?
Underneath that jacket, like you guys don't know. Like he showed me earlier. There's 8. So
like-
that means there's 16.
Yeah.
Like total little
Donuts. Oh.
Yeah, just right, and they're all connected to one another. You could do your laundry on it, but it tastes like glaze afterwards.
12-pack or baker's dozen.
Right,
What do
yeah.
you want?
If you want to lick your laundry,
Yeah.
he's the guy you're gonna want to wash your shit on.
Yeah. Delicates.
Yeah.
That's what you could do on me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put on delicates,
Your
real
sheer,
gentle.
Yeah.
Real
Your
gentle.
sheer
Satin,
fabrics. Yes.
felt.
Silk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Silk.
Pool table felt.
Yeah. Yes. Perfect. It's exactly.
Completely
If
perfect.
you're good with it, that's again like I just fuck my house.
Pantyhose.
I'm bringing it all over to yours.
Yeah,
All over
exactly.
to yours. I'm gonna
Ladies'
bring it over.
undergarments. I'm into that.
Yeah, I'll do
Okay.
the podcast just to have the privilege of doing laundry.
Doing your
stomach.
yeah.
Wow,
so
that got really weird.
No,
Well,
it's gonna get better.
weird, fun. I
No,
don't
okay.
know.
So Massage Maniac is
Oh.
one, right?
Yes.
The other one I do is it's an improv podcast, and they're only 10-minute episodes. It's like a short podcast entry.
And they're scripted.
And no,
Oh.
no,
Oh,
'cause
wow.
it's improv, right?
Oh.
Actually, they're somewhat scripted. That's actually a lie. So the podcast is called Actor's Worst Nightmare.
Okay.
And so what we do is the podcast is also the same name of a very popular short form game that you can find in Improv Encyclopedia called Actor's Worst Nightmare.
Monopoly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Sorry,
that
never
too.
mind.
You could probably do it with Monopoly. But
Mm-hmm.
basically Actor's Worst Nightmare, like the premise of that short form game is one person can only say things from like written dialogue, whether it comes from a novel, a script, a newspaper, so on and so forth.
A library.
Right. Yeah. Again, all those things are there at a library.
Oh.
And the
That's
other
what they
person
do.
is improvising. And so through that, we create like deleted scenes or never read before scenes from
Okay.
like, popular novels, popular books,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. It's super fun. And all the episodes are only like 10, 15 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done things like The Hunger Games
Okay.
and The 4-Hour Body.
Timothy Ferris.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yep. And Tony Robbins. We've done some of
Mm-hmm.
that. Star Wars, you name it, we've done it. And we just I have different improvisers that come on, and like that's how it rolls. So you can find all those on everything except Apple because again, moron. That's me. So yeah, those.
That's all right, but we're both growing our podcast, and and we appreciate you being here because you can get to plug your stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Again, coming on here is fun. I was just telling him, it was like I get to swear on this one.
Yes.
I work pretty.
You
I work clean in the
cocksucker.
other ones.
Oh yeah.
Kat says that we need to play an improv game on this show sometime.
Oh, dude, we could play Actors Worst. Do you have a book?
Yeah.
I don't read
I don't
books.
remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Did I win?
Yeah, we could do that on
Yeah.
here very
Okay.
easily.
Actually, I do have a book. Now it's not as funny as some books. It's actually
I can't wait.
Is it T.S. Eliot? It's about slavery.
Yeah, so basically you could be on book and only say things from there, and I could improvise.
What if I wanted to improvise?
We can do that both
All right.
ways, baby.
Or I could be on book and you guys could both
Roma.
improvise. I'm just saying.
It could work out that way. It could work out that way.
Now, hold on. Roma, do we need to shout out at anyone?
We do
'Cause
need
I
to
bet
shout
we
out.
do.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So we've got, let's see here. We've got Margot, Steve S, Steve H, Kat, Kaylee, Daniel.
Oh, and I'm just about to send out an invite to all of our friends, Roma.
That sounds good. That's what we're
Yeah.
at.
Okay, great.
That's everybody in
Well, thank
the
you,
chat.
everyone, for being in the room with
Dope.
us here because we are big fans of yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here.
Anybody that wants to listen to my stupid ass, like I'm a fan.
Totally.
Like anybody that wants to listen to.
We're our fans' biggest fans.
Yeah.
Sorry, just adding one more
love it.
hashtag.
Ooh.
Always one more
Hashtag climate change.
You can't ever. Yeah, you can't have enough. You can't have enough hashtags.
Climate change hoax? No.
Hash browns, yes. You can,
Hashtag hash browns?
you don't want a carb overload. You want to make sure that your gut is in a good place.
I always put, I don't know why, it's a huge waste of time, but I like to put hashtag.
Yeah.
Like the word hashtag.
And someone's like, that's ironic.
I know.
It's like the equivalent of like you see that and you're like, oh, that's like my fart. Like when I say I'm like that's like my brand. It's good.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, seven, tweets or twits.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's
Don't do that Twitter shit, man.
That's ironic. I know. Oh, jeez. So I was gonna ask you something.
Do it.
Now, did you and you're a married man,
Yes.
woman or a man?
Married to a woman.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Woman.
How traditional.
Yes.
Not very woke.
That's so boring.
Yeah, exactly. Blasé. What? Okay, is she involved in your industry?
No, she has been though. Like she's a trained
Okay.
improviser just like me, but she's like, that's your thing.
I
I'll
meant
get her ass on
massage.
stage. Oh no, she's
Oh,
not.
okay.
But she is a healer. My wife's a counselor.
Oh, okay.
So we're both kind of wired that way.
Trauma?
All of it.
Yeah.
She's a
okay.
school counselor, so she sees it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she loves it. Like she's
Now-
really good.
Are teachers having as much sex with their students as they did previously?
Oh,
Because it
yikes.
seemed like that was a pretty cool thing for a while.
I don't know. I will say this. Like she's come home with some stories where I'm like, that can't possibly be true.
Yeah.
Especially when she was interning. Like she interned she's an elementary school counselor.
Okay.
And she interned when she was in school. She was interning at like an elementary school and a junior high. And some of the stuff she would come home from junior high, I'm like, no way. There's no way they were able to do that. Like some of the ways they were able to misbehave with technology, where police
Oh.
are getting involved and stuff like that.
Oh.
I'm like, oh no way.
Like fraud or?
Oh, dude, like again, like kids and hormones and cameras, dude. Like that.
Well, not particularly, but I'm all
you
ears.
don't know. But like they know how to do stuff with all
Because
that
older
stuff.
guys are better.
Oh yikes!
I'll just be your secret lover.
Oh lord.
I'll make it feel really good for you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, but she, all that stuff like is HIPAA stuff. So she comes up and will tell me
Yeah.
sometimes something like,
There
obviously
is
keeping names and stuff
husband,
out there.
wife.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair to her. She's got to be able to get some of that stuff out. Like if you're
Yeah.
working in any kind of
Those sexy little children's got to get there.
Oh, yeah. Like she's pretty good about like self-care and like again like I just am a sounding board and like let her, if she has something specific to say, let her do it. And
Yeah.
that's that. But again, like to be a counselor, I think like to be like my wife is a special person in the sense that like it takes someone like with a really strong internal fortitude
Yeah.
and the ability to like not take on someone else's stuff.
Oh yeah.
Big time, which is why I could never do it. Right, I'm an empath.
Yeah.
Like wear my emotion on the sleeve. I could never do it. I would last a week.
Well, and what I was thinking is, well, when I was younger, I thought I wanted to be a psychologist or something along those lines. And something someone said to me once was, do you really want to hear someone's problems all day long? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a rough gig.
Yeah.
That all you do is hear screwed up people. And I mean, I'm sure you help enough people. I think kids would probably be easier to work with because they don't have the weight of the world and all of these bad decisions behind them, and you can still mold them to hopefully be productive
she
members.
gets them early on the assembly line. That's what I told her. It's like, you're really making it. But some of the kids' stories and stuff like that, like that that she'll be like, oh, this kid had this problem, and like you're just like, oh, dude,
like they don't get hit enough or whatever,
something like that. It's like, oh man, like how are they going to? I mean, they've got a chin, they got an iron chin, but like,
exactly. This kid doesn't go down.
It's not going to work in accounting. Like that's how. I don't know. So like I'm always pretty much in awe of anybody that can do that profession. Because like mental health, especially in our society, is looked at
not that
as,
important.
Yeah, it's like, oh, screw it. Like, just give them some Xanax.
Here's a gun.
Walk it off.
Yeah.
Here's some psychotropics.
Yeah.
And an AR-15.
Exactly.
What could go wrong?
Perfect.
So. Yeah.
Well, but what I was actually going to ask you. Sorry. Now, I know that when you have so like your wife probably doesn't enjoy hearing about your problems.
No, I think that she likes to I think that like we have a pretty jovial relationship where she kind of makes fun of the things that I think are problems. Yeah.
Okay. Like immigrants or
no?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, let's go right by that. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No.
He has never indicated to me that immigrants were a problem.
No, I'm good.
No. So, do you like to massage your wife as foreplay?
No.
Okay.
Like I'm a big fan of like shit where I eat.
Like
yeah, and again the same thing, like, right, because like what you've touched on is pretty interesting because a lot of people sexualize massage, like
I've been known to.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and again like what they show you in movies and what they show you, in pop culture and what they say about massage has a weird ass shady underbelly.
Yeah.
It's oftentimes a cover for trafficking. And like so like when like people always ask like, "Did your wife get massaged?" And like honestly like. Most time I see a pair of feet that will show up in my lap mysteriously.
Yeah.
But like I offer sometimes. I'm like, dude, do you want some work? She's like, I wouldn't have time for that. Because we got kids.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we don't.
Nobody's gonna hit them themselves.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And just
go hit yourselves.
Go play Fortnite, would you?
Yeah.
So no, like that's a really common question to be like, does your wife get a lot of massage? Or I bet your wife to get a massage therapist or whatever.
And that's what I was kind of wondering because I'm like, okay, so there's a benefit to that. So, so I had an ex-girlfriend who she liked foot massages every night, and she would trade me other things for that,
Sure.
And so basically, I would get my whatever first, and then she would get hers and go to sleep. And so it was like a really, really great system because I was happy and she was happy. Of course, I'm a little less enthusiastic about massaging someone's feet after I've
sure there's that thing called a refractory period.
Exactly. Yeah. And you start getting riled up and she's leave me alone, but the funny thing was I was thinking about that because I'm like, oh, well, I'm sure you're very talented at it because that's what you learn to do. You learn to read other people's bodies and manipulate them in ways, obviously not in an erotic way. But I think there's that thing with, gynecologists where they're like, only dicks for me, thanks,
Right.
Just because you get bored.
No, I would,
you've been through that.
Yeah, I think I'm like reading between lines. So the question, like, I think that like, as a dude that does massage, was part of the reason why I started my podcast, right? It's just like, what's it like to be a dude in this profession that's dominated by women?
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Like it's really fascinating in the sense that like one thing I think is interesting is like I could never truly know what it would be like to be like a woman in a man's world.
Yeah.
But like massage kind of gives you an insight into that as a dude because there will be people like, nah, you can't. I don't want a massage from you because insert the reason here. I don't trust men.
You're too sexy.
You're a perv.
That's what I get a lot.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And so and again like. Sometimes like male therapists have a hard time getting booked, have a hard time building a business. So I in a small, minute way, I can kind of understand maybe what like a woman goes through in the workplace.
I mean, here in San Francisco, it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah. But no, I think that like, like at least half my client base is male.
Yeah.
It's because my sessions are all business. Like
Sure.
it's all deep tissue sports,
And-
orthopedic. Like I'm not here to rub you down and get
Yeah.
$60 again. Like it's like let's do some work.
Well, and that's why I only ask about your wife, because honestly, I'm absolutely certain 99.9% of massage therapy. I mean, okay, look, if someone's got to pay their rent and you're cute and you have an extra couple $100, I'm sure, I've run into that.
Sure.
Now, but I'm sure for the most part, people are just like, look, dude, it's just my job. That's all I'm doing,
Yeah,
but,
dude, it's just
but
like
it's a very intimate job, for sure.
yeah.
And I think as if I married someone who was a massage therapist, sorry, that's can we exploit that? I cooked for a living
Sure.
when I was younger, and so I don't mind if someone goes, hey, will you make me this delicious thing? It's like, yeah, okay, because I like you and whatever. I don't know. Do you like your wife?
She's pretty lovely.
Is she? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. Okay,
Yeah, she's a good person.
woman.
Yes.
Okay.
No, like it's interesting. Like I think that if you had asked me like 10 years ago, I've been a massage therapist like for over 8.5 years. If you
Yeah.
asked me 10 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. Like there's like no way I would do that.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of how I trip, slip, and fell into that profession as I was running. I knew nothing about health and wellness, nothing about running really. I just knew that like running was helping me relieve stress in a horrible corporate job.
Okay.
And again, got injured running, got a personal trainer, ended up running a half marathon, then got a massage for recovery like the next day. And like I was like, dude, I was miserable in a sales job, but I was like, I could sell that shit all day long. Like this was incredible. And I've always, as I became a runner, stuff like that, I was getting more into health and wellness. Like, well, why do I hurt here? Why is my IT band sore? Why are my calves sore? Like, I'm not drinking enough water. I'm not eating the right things. Like, and that kind of led me like into getting into massage and stuff like that.
When my IT band was first done, so that's down the hip
Side of the
to
side of the leg, yep.
Oh
Hip to
my!
the edge of the knee.
I can tolerate a lot of pain. That about threw me off the table the first time somebody did
dude,
that. I never heard of
I
it.
could work for the NSA. I could work for the CIA. You throw the 3-letter acronym out there. Like, it'd be like, you tell us the location of your rebel base, and be like, no, I'll never do it. And I was like, they could be like, John,
just a little elbow rub.
come here. And I was like, frog him out. And they'd be like, what is going to happen here? And I'd take the corner of my elbow and put it right in there and be like, tell us.
Oh yeah.
Funny IT band story. So when I was at massage school, for whatever reason, in our neck of the woods, they were having the NCAA National Track Championship.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is a random place to have it. And so we went there. Our massage school went there. All the students and the teacher went there and set up our tables and stuff like that. But it was like everybody. So the SEC
Picnic?
schools, ACC, not the picnic tables.
Oh.
You could eat off the table if you wanted to, but you
Your
don't
potato
want
salad would
you don't
slide
want
right
scurvy, right? You don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're using oil, man, forget it. Nothing's staying on there.
And I am.
Yeah.
Put that on my salad.
Oh, it's healthy. It's
In the
nice
pub.
vinaigrette.
Oh yeah.
Vinaigrette and cloves. I'm sure that's essential oil somewhere.
Zesty.
But no. So this athlete comes up from Southern Illinois, and it's just this massive decathlete, big lady, just this big lady. And the personal trainer comes up to me and is just like, and the athletic trainer's like, hey, we need to strip so and so's IT bands out. Like, and this is a massive specimen. And she's just looking at me like, and I was like, they're gonna eat me. Like, this is insane. And just this ripped black lady, unbelievable physique. And so like they get down on the table and like
You get turned on.
like that. No,
No. She's
If
a little
anything,
too much
again,
for
like, so they had her leg like kind of frogged out, so she was face down, have her leg kind of like frogged out like a frog position, right? Like the. And so I had to take the corner of my elbow, and the athletic trainer's like, you need to use as much pressure as humanly possible. And like, so I look at my massage teacher, and he's like, do what he says. And so I put the corner of my elbow in this lady's IT band. And it was like looking at an angry bull. I could just see the whites of her eyes.
Shit.
Like, I was like, she is gonna hurt me. And it was, I don't know how this person made it through.
Wow.
Because I put like the full. I'm a bad mamma jammer. I can generate a lot of pressure. And we did that for both IT bands. It was like the slow, painful. Imagine having an elbow like with that pressure like staying there as I'm trigger pointing something like.
Yeah.
And IT band isn't a muscle; it's a tendon.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, and again, it's essentially again, that tendon, imagine like a rubber band, like that's how it's working, right? It's holding your leg in place, like it's allowing you to do all the things that you do to walk, run, so on and so forth. Did it on both sides. And they got up, and I was like, oh, no. And, like, they gave me a big old hug. It's like, I feel so much better. Oh, thank you so much. And the athlete trainer was like, good job. Like, she's looking good. And, like, I don't know how they competed in the rest of their events, but and I was like, how did that make someone happy? I don't understand.
And now she's your wife.
Well, yeah.
What a lovely lady.
And she's, bench presses me, takes me everywhere.
Hey, you can see that counselor's clit through her pants.
Oh, Lord. What do they call it, like a moose knuckle? Have you heard that term?
Yes.
Well, a woman technically is the camel toe, and a male with the short shorts is the moose knuckle.
Someone told me that term a couple years ago. I'd never heard it, and I pretty much screamed that for like 20 minutes.
Because you got the pants right up.
Man,
I've done it before.
Human beings are awesome.
Back in college.
Humans are fun. That's one thing I was thinking about today. I was just like, in spite of all the stuff that's going on in the world right now,
you still believe that people are good?
Yeah, I do.
That's Anne Frank.
Yeah.
You rip off.
Yeah. I agree with a small Jewish girl.
Yeah.
I agree with her. But no, I think people are generally good. And like, again, we're, in spite of all this, like, nonsense that's going on, like, we're gonna be okay.
I think individuals are good. I think that group dynamics are terrible.
The mob, the herd mentality, like that stuff can be extremely dangerous, and we're seeing that, especially here in the States. And I do feel that in certain
social media arenas, it can be terrible, you know, all the echo chambering, all those things that basically reaffirm your own values and you know, preconceived notions, your own news narratives, and then further, you know, amplify what you already hold to be true, which typically is not true.
Right.
So, you know, I don't think people are good.
Oh, I see that.
At least in groups of more than one, maybe two.
Well, you know, again, like the thing you said about the amplifier, right? Like that's, I mean, that is social media, right? It's like this ultimate loudspeaker.
Yeah.
And
all the algorithms are built to give you the things you click on. What do we click on? We click on cute puppies.
Yep.
Sometimes, and we click on things that make us mad more.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. You know, there's clickbait, there's rage bait. Rage bait's the biggest seller. And I think that's what's been the problem with the news media and social media in general, is that those rage bait, you know, I mean, really, they're just trying to make money. That's exactly what they're doing.
It's not about the content at all. It's like about the clicks, and they don't care what they have to put in front of you or how horrific it is or how wrong it is. If they get the clicks, they're getting paid.
And you know, and I think a lot of corporations that are going like, oh, BLM and all this stuff, when really it's a communist organization. It's like lowercase BLM, totally agree. Uppercase BLM, absolutely don't agree, you know, because it's a Marxist organization that's just trying to burn down society in America. And I feel that the corporations are all folding to it because, of course, they have this loud mouthpiece, you know, that's just like, you know, oh, we need to defund all the police departments. I'm like, look, you can reallocate money to social workers or do whatever you have to do. That's fine. I'm like, but, you know, shutting things down and completely restructuring criminal justice and doing all that stuff, I'm like, that's a little rash.
Well, especially in such a short period of time. If you took the time to do it properly or whatever, but we do need law and order.
And all of these cities, if you look at them, they're in deep debt, you know, so they're like, hey, let's take $1 billion from the police. It's like, whoa, you know, like do you really think this is going to turn out well? You know, people are burning your city right now. Right. And they haven't stopped in like, a month and a half. And you're just going to, you know, you're going to put this in the bus system. You know, like, okay, that'll work great. Flaming buses driving around.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, I, from my own personal standpoint, like, I agree in principle with what Black Lives Matter is trying to do, as far as like what the average human believes that they are participating in, as far as like
the lowercase BLM.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
I 120% agree.
Yeah. Well, nobody should die. Nobody
No.
should be killed by.
No,
Yeah,
I don't care
yeah.
what color you are. You should
Exactly.
be absolutely horrified
Exactly. Sure.
by someone literally being
Yeah.
executed on camera.
Every human being, other than a handful of complete psychopaths, agrees with that.
Yeah.
But
again,
it's the
with
hijacking.
these people at the top
Yeah.
saying that they're trained Marxists,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
should be a massive alarm bell
Yes. Yep.
to people. But again, if you were to probably ask a lot of these people that are participating in the movement, they have no idea.
Yeah.
that
Oh
that
no,
was
they
said.
don't.
They
All
don't
the
have
people
any
on
idea
Twitter,
what they're
yeah.
participating in. Which,
Yep.
if you know anything about Marxism,
Yes, which
Like,
I do.
which you do,
Yeah.
like they're essentially like they're useful idiots, right?
Yeah.
And so they use it
Yes.
to get the policies passed, and then
Mhm.
they turn around and use those policies
Mhm.
against the useful idiots, and then they kill the intellectuals.
Yeah.
Like,
They are the
that's-
first to
that's what
die.
happens.
The first ones to get the
That's-
bullet.
If they're trained Marxists,
Mhm.
and if those ladies at the top truly know like what that is, like that's what their goal is.
Did you see our episode with on Yuri Bezmenov?
No,
Yeah.
no, I haven't
so
seen
you're
that one yet.
speaking the same exact language. Yeah. I think it was episode 50, 58, 59, something like that.
But again, like
Excuse me.
a lot
Good
of
one.
people, I think say like, oh well, it could never get to that level.
Sure.
It could never get to that level.
Yeah.
And like I have a really good friend of mine that is kind of super lefty,
Mhm.
and
Is it Steve?
no,
Oh, okay.
it is not Libertarian Steve.
Oh, okay.
He's fun. But like I was years ago during the Boston. Do you remember the Boston bombing? Okay, so
Mhm.
I was watching that unfold
Mhm.
on CNN. That was back in what, like I think like 2013,
Something like
It's
that.
been a
yeah.
minute.
somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Watching that unfold, and I remember like talking to, and like the way they were reporting on it was all coming in live, right? And I was watching all this come in live, and I remember a reporter, I think it was a CNN reporter, they were standing there like, yeah, the government's going door to door, like National Guard's going door to door, asking like they're searching people, like da 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 da, and like essentially like violating, illegal search and seizure, and like all these amendments.
Yeah.
And then like 20 minutes later, like, and then someone said that on Twitter too. 20 minutes later, it was gone. Like that reporter that was reporting on it was not even there anymore, and like those tweets were gone. And I remember telling my buddy like, it's not unheard of that like you're gonna see armored vehicles rolling down the streets, and he told me that's absurd. We'll never see the military in the streets, so on and so forth. Well, we know just months ago when all this broke out, we had the National Guard running down the street, shooting paintballs at people and carrying on. Like, have you seen that clip of those ladies that are outside like filming, like get in the house, and
yeah.
light them up?
Yeah.
Like
Those were only police officers, but there
Oh,
were
okay.
some National Guard guys.
Right.
Well, the thing that's happened recently is, the left, I think, was really trying to bait Trump into, the Insurrection Act, which is where you can use use the military domestically. He didn't do it, and so I think that's why they're still burning cities. Is basically they just want to make Trump into the tyrant that they believe him to be. Although he isn't, he's just like he's not falling for it. What he did mess up on is they're black bagging some of the rioters. So these federal police are basically pulling up in a van and grabbing people and throwing them in because they're surveilling them and all that shit. And if you witness somebody doing something, you don't have to read the Miranda rights. You can just take them. We just usually don't do that. And unfortunately now they're taking videos of this and going, oh, Gestapo, only 45 days into us trying to burn down a federal, court. Oh, what a tyrant. It's like, yeah. And then they let them go 45 minutes later. They take them and they really you should charge somebody if you're going to charge them and not take them if you're not going to take them. Let them fucking do whatever they're going to do. Let them burn down their own city, because obviously the mayors don't care, the governors don't care. They're just gonna let people terrorize their communities.
right. Well, it's like the Chaz shop,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it was all fun and games. So they went to the mayor's house.
Yeah,
Then it shut down
and
the
then
next day.
suddenly,
It wasn't the summer of love and a block party. Suddenly,
Yes.
this is a problem.
yep.
Um,
What, 5 people got shot or something in
yeah,
there?
dude.
And,
It's a total wreck. And
Yeah.
like I think that again, I still believe that people are generally good. I think that a lot of the loudest, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? The loudest voices right now are getting. But again, I truly believe that 75 to 80% of Americans are just kind of sitting on the sidelines, being like, "Can we just watch Friday Night Lights?
yeah, we just want it to be
Can
not
I just
there.
watch the game?"
Yeah,
I don't want to hear.
I'm sick of the news, honestly.
Yeah,
Really.
they're just like, I'm so tired of this. I don't want to. And it'll be interesting to see what America does.
Yeah.
Like how they decide to vote. Like how, like months ago, I would have told you that the orange lizard had it in a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all bets are off. I think it's wide open.
It's hard to say with COVID, the economy, and now all of this. It's, I mean, some things are going one way and some things are going the other way, and it's interesting to watch how the media, so like Trump's numbers were really going up through the roof when he was making those COVID every day when he was doing the press conferences. So what does the media do? Stop covering it. So, basically he was like on one channel and finally he's just like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then, now there's all this stuff going on and like, oh, peaceful protests. And of course, they're trying to uproot America at its foundation. And, all while claiming it's BLM. And it's like, well, I mean, it is BLM, but I mean, lowercase BLM. And it's like, well, could we be a little more constructive with our, obviously you have the attention of people. What do you want? What are we fighting for now? And they have those lists of demands that they want, which are like insane. I think they had one that was like 18 demands. I think that was during Chaz.
Yeah, during Chaz.
Yeah, they had like this crazy list. And one of them was big vegan food,
So weird.
And then they had all the segregation stuff. They had the white farm and then the black farm. And it's like, really?
I saw that sign and it was like the most like third grade looking sign that they had on, and I was like, what is going on?
You're like, was Tucker Carlson here hanging paper signs?
Oh, dude, they're gonna get him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy's going. I don't really, again, I have a horse in the race and I don't really like any news whatsoever. And I think CNN and Fox are the worst.
Yeah.
Boy, that guy's going hard in the paint, isn't he?
I like him. I think he's the one person that tells the truth.
And the thing is, like, I don't necessarily like him, but I'm just like, dude, he's saying some pretty real stuff.
Yeah,
and like, just like, it sure is it like conservative leaning? Of course it is, because he's a conservative.
Sure.
But he's saying some pretty real stuff. And again, I was like, they don't like that. Again, they're gonna get him.
Yeah.
You watch.
Cancel culture, whatever it is. I mean, there's plenty of people that
that's got to stop, man.
Oh yeah.
It's just got to stop. Like I especially like they were trying to Hamilton. They want to cancel Hamilton. I'm like, this man is on your team. Lin-Manuel Miranda is a genius, and he's on your side.
Totally.
He casts mostly minority. He's on your side.
Yeah, isn't he Puerto Rican or something?
Yeah, he's brilliant.
And I'm sure he's probably gay.
I'm not sure.
Is that not enough?
I don't know. Like, well, in the Heights, brilliant.
Yeah.
Like it's like hip hop and musical. I mean, like that was the predecessor to Hamilton. Like those two musicals they're amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and I've only listened to most of Hamilton. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I was like, they're trying to cancel.
Racist.
Well, the fact that he had to come out again to his own people and be like, I'm sorry, and I'm just like, it's never going to be enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the most woke thing
is now
2
not
years
woke.
ago or whatever.
It's just
it was.
like, dude, what is going on?
Yeah.
And it's just like and that leads.
It's not intersectional enough. You know, like.
Well, and I think about, okay, what is all this?
Thank God
mean?
he made all that money.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, see y'all later.
I'll just write some more stuff for Disney.
I never have to do shit again.
That's all right. I'll write some more stuff for Disney.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, well, what does this all mean for like Little John the massage therapist, right? How am I going to survive my little business like throughout what is clearly some sort of a metamorphosis that the United States is going through? Like, what can I do to make sure that because again, in business, it's adapt or be destroyed. Like in life, it's adapt or be destroyed.
Useful idiot.
Yep, life has changed. And it's just like, but again, like, how can I? There's some of me. It's just like there's some of these like momentous change mechanisms that I can't personally stop, right? But then like, what can I do to make sure that my business survives?
Yeah.
What can I do to make sure that I can ride the wave and not ruffle any feathers and just kind of survive through whatever this transition is that we're all going through?
I think we're all going to be slaves to the podcasting gulag.
Oh, dude, like.
Oh, entertain us. Fine.
Podcasting is like the Wild West, right? Because you
It really is.
It really is. Like there's no regulations on it really right now. Like there's no. You can kind of just do your own thing. Go buy a microphone.
We don't allow that here.
No, you guys. This is the most. I feel so structured and confined in this podcast.
We all need to laugh.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Heir, or what do you call him?
I don't know.
Mind
Emperor.
Fuhrer? I don't know.
Yeah, my Emperor. Dear leader. I
Dude,
guess that'd be like North Korea.
One of my
Dear
friends
leader.
was bitching about Trump the other day, and
Mm-hmm.
he was just like, "God, he's just like Hitler 2.0, blah 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 blah." And then in the next sentence, he goes, "This virus thing, you know, it's only killing old people, and who cares? They had a good life. We should just let it kill them." And I was like, wait. I was like, the first sentence you just said is you compared Trump to Hitler, and then the next sentence you said something that Hitler and Trump would really enjoy.
Yeah.
If your premise holds true.
I was gonna say Trump's actually trying to not kill. I mean, you know, economy also kills people. You know, suicides, starvation, all those things kill people. It's a balancing act, and you know, honestly, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of restrictions now. California is going completely shut down. And it's like,
are they shut all the way back down again?
Their bars, the restaurants. Roman, do you know about any of this? Governor Newsom over there?
No, California,
Yeah. I mean, I think they completely shut down pretty much everything.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, only the, fifth largest economy in the world, basically, is California. You know, most countries don't have an economy like they do.
Right.
And you're just going to shut it all down?
Are they still allowing riots?
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
long
at
as
least
they're doing that.
at least some people still have jobs.
That's just crazy. It's
It's
just like,
irritating and burning. Irritating people
it's
and burning
so
things.
weird. Like all of this, like, because we're living like live history, like right now, like they're definitely gonna write about this section of history for sure.
Well, and the funny thing is so with all the intersectional, intersectionality, the Marxism, intersectional politics and critical theory and all that, all fancy words for the assholes in the situation.
Pretty much.
It's like, okay, so rioting, burning things, disallowing books and movies and, trying to change history, tear down statues, all that stuff. I'm like,
Control
are those
speech.
usually the good people in the stories? I'm like, usually they're the not good people, and I get it. There's revolutionaries that, but those people are up against people like, Gaddafi, and different like dictators. We don't really have that. Sorry,
No.
we've got. You can kind of vote and like go do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want.
Now.
Well, they can't, and we're not supposed to be able to according to them, but according to the Constitution, we can, which is really cool. I don't know if most people have ever read the amendments in the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, it's great.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I was actually kind of reading about it today. So the Constitution was written in 1788, and then 2 years later, the Bill of Rights was added to that, and so those were amendments to the Constitution, and that's where we get things like the freedom of speech and different things that they wanted to add in that
Didn't make it in the first cut.
round it out, and really make it the tool that it has to be. Because if you think about it, you got to revise things,
Sure.
like marriage,
Yeah, sometimes you have to mix it up.
You're
Doesn't
like,
always.
oh, yeah, exactly. Gotta step out. You know what I'm saying?
You put the gas mask on tonight. That's different. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think like in general that people should again, because I've in previous times I've come on here, like I'm someone that kind of believes there's a much larger game being played, to the point where again people give you the thousand-eyed fluoride stare when you talk about some of this stuff. But we the country is like metamorphosizing, and I've been reading about it for months again, trying to like wrap my brain around COVID, wrap my brain around the riots and the protesting. Why did the Democrats essentially pick Guy Pearce from Memento like as their candidate? Like why did they need
Sexy,
to tattoo
right?
that guy? I mean, they just need to tattaoo him on his just give him sleeves to
You're
get
an asshole.
this is your wife. She's gonna be on this side. This is your sister. That's what why are they doing this? Like he's clearly inept. And then of course you got the Orange Lizard on the other side, who's just he's insane. He's a hot mess.
I like him.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I know a lot of people that are just like, nah, I'm good with him. And again, I was telling
John,
You are fake. You are fake news.
it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know shit.
Go ahead.
I don't
No,
know
that's
anything. I was telling Libertarian Steve earlier today, I was like, from a completely objective standpoint, Like there's some things that he did that I liked as far as like the economy, crushed it, A+.
Totally.
Backing out of who? I like that move.
Yeah.
Like hammering trafficking, love that move. There's some things that he's done.
Prison reform.
Yeah, prison.
or,
Why did it take him to get that done
Yes.
with essentially a rapper and a
yeah,
reality star?
a racist, a real racist
Yeah.
to reform criminal justice.
Yeah, that's a
this
big
country.
one. That's a
But
big
Biden,
one.
of course, was on with the
Yeah,
the
he wrote a lot of that stuff, man.
Exactly.
It's got everything here but jaywalking. There's that clip of him
yeah.
doing that. And it's
Black
just,
kids are just as smart as white. Or no, wait, what is it? Poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
yeah, it's just again like the guy is just. It's just like this is the guy that you picked. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
You're hilarious, Biden.
Oh man, like
Yeah.
and like there's all this stuff going on, and like to me, one thing that's really clear, like regardless of what you think about the mask, no mask, regardless of what you think about the virus, regardless of what you think of BLM, regardless of what you think about whatever political party you like the least that you hate, like one thing I think we all can agree, we're getting played. Like we've been split up and divided in subsections, and to the point where like they know that we can't close the fingers to make a fist. And what's coming next?
Because of the sodium.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not enough in there.
Those plump digits.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't squeeze.
So tight.
It's so tight. My mandibles won't close.
Mm-hmm.
Like we clearly like if we're like this divided, like whatever comes down the turnpike, we won't be able to stop. And there are things like that are just getting ramped up now, contact tracing, and like AI and big tech are like gonna be rolling out some crazy stuff. Like if you ever want to watch a live Black Mirror episode, just go to Boston Dynamics page and watch some of their robots.
I always
Like,
see the fake robots, the ones that they do where they're like kicking them over and
yeah,
making
I
fun
saw
of
that,
them,
dude. It looks real.
making them put on dresses.
Like the
I don't know if that's one.
I saw this one with like it was
Shame
clearly
the
made it
robot.
up, but they were like having it like pick the shoot between is it going to shoot a human or going to shoot the target and stuff like that. But you know that they have that stuff. Like,
What do you think about sex robots? Are they going to replace your large decathlon wife?
never.
Okay.
I like the real thing.
Yeah.
You know, dude, I've seen AI. I've seen
The movie?
iRobot. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen Terminator. Like
Ex
I
Machina?
ain't down. I ain't down. But that's going to be a huge market. Like it'll be a huge, but it's disturbing. Like it's almost
Is
like
it? I don't know.
well, again, like maybe it is to some, maybe it isn't to
I
others.
mean, you already got a vacuum cleaner. You might as well throw a wig on it.
Come here, Tyson.
Yeah, totally.
No, but no,
She knows just how to please a man. Yeah, that's right. Brush tip.
I like the high setting.
Crevice tool.
Hug the carpet closer. Like that's better suction that way.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff that's coming down, like that I've like read about, it's freaking terrifying.
Yeah.
Like the idea that like some of the stuff that predictive programming can do, some of the stuff that obviously the algorithms are doing right now as we speak. It's again because people are just like, well, I don't. One thing I always hear from like some of my buddies that don't like reading about this stuff as much as I do is like, it doesn't concern me, man. I don't have anything to hide. I don't like. Well, right now you don't. In a world where the goalposts ever shift,
Yeah.
right now your ESPN surfing doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Who's to say that down the line, like anybody
Yeah.
who likes sports
Yeah.
is too aggressive for society?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watched
Yeah,
Hamilton.
seriously.
Right. You watched Hamilton.
Yeah.
Clearly, you're a threat.
Forefathers and Puerto Ricans.
Right.
Sorry, you're out.
Too many
pal.
too many Mel Gibson movies streamed on Netflix.
That's right.
Like you're
the
in
Patriot.
trouble. Like that's
Well, and here's the thing too: is so if you take the people that are this intersectionality, where they're trying to repeal civil rights and so that they can not have to adhere to them, not necessarily in the way that they were first intended, that like, oh, civil rights legislation is going to keep minorities from being oppressed. Well, it's like, yeah, that's all pretty much gone. You can't just say systemic racism so that you don't have to back that up with any proof.
Right.
Because look, life isn't fair. Absolutely. There are things that can absolutely be improved in many neighborhoods, in many areas. Totally. However, if you're going to start saying that, hey, because you look like this and you are this gender, which don't exist, or this or that, whatever, this sex, you were going to commit a crime, pre-crime.
Yeah, pre-crime.
Yes.
Like Minority Report style.
That's-
That's the thing. People don't realize
That's the
that
thing
can
I'm
happen.
worried about. Yeah.
that can happen.
yeah.
Like that's
you're a rapist. What?
Well, we saw that you saw this movie and that movie,
Yeah.
and you went to these websites and like you
Mhm.
attended this event.
Your
and,
hormone profile spiked when whatever,
People
yeah.
don't realize like that could very much
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah.
And maybe,
Smartwatches.
well, yeah, and maybe it won't be that extreme, but
Maybe
like
it will.
maybe it will, and maybe it could be like, hey, like based on like your recent purchases.
Yeah.
We have determined X, Y, and Z about you, and now you're prohibited from purchasing these things because it's not good for you, or because
Like nacho cheese? Is that
Right.
what you're talking about?
yeah, so like
Holy
you could make a
shit.
food choice. Like you'd be like, not too much nacho cheese for you, you fat ass. Like like there's too many. You're consuming your caloric intake is not where we feel like it should be for your age and for your race and for your genetic profile, all of which we have all this information because
Yeah.
your dumbass sent something in the 23andMe. Why the fuck are people saying this?
Yeah.
I don't understand why people are doing this.
Yeah.
Like, have you not watched Black Mirror? Have you not watched this shit? Like,
I'm very interested in it, but I refuse to do it.
oh fuck yeah! I
I
would
sent him
love,
someone else's semen.
Right, you're like, what does this say about me? You are
Oh, what,
in the
that's
case
swab?
of this 23 of your profile. You are not
Yeah.
the father.
You have chlamydia.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just people send that shit in. I'm like,
Sir.
don't send your shit into because 23andMe specifically, right? I was reading a study. I think it was on blood types
mhm.
in regards to COVID recently,
Mhm.
and I think 23andMe was one of the people that one of
Yeah.
the companies that were involved in that. That figured out that like if you have type O blood, there's a couple studies that say this now. Apparently, you are. I want to say that study said it was like 9 to 25% less likely to even contract the virus, or it's just harder for type O blood people to contract COVID for whatever reason.
I'm immune to STDs, so I probably
you just like
yeah.
you can dip it anywhere. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jump in
I
any,
try.
Jump into any pool.
Like, hey, you look sick.
No swimming. We'll see.
Yeah. Dear Tinder.
Yeah, brain-eating bacteria.
Yeah.
Let's go in.
I'd
see
like
what
the
happens.
lowest scoring participants you have, please.
Oh, open your urethra. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But no, like so with 23andMe, like they got Google Connects.
Yeah.
Like, and that they're stockpiling that information for
Well-
what purpose? I don't know.
And all it takes is one, piece of legislation.
Yeah.
Really. And and that's what concerns me about not going in more of a libertarian constitutional, area, not continuing to head down that road. I'm not a believer that all government is bad. I think government is a necessity in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. However, you should not be legislating who gets to drink out of what water fountains and what companies have to do with information and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I'm all a big fan for like,
Yeah.
got like,
Unless, and then the exception is Trump did the thing with China recently. Have you heard of that? So anything really. So it's I think it's called the Hong Kong Act or something to do with Hong Kong. But how I'm sure you're aware how
those poor people.
yeah. So basically, Hong Kong has been a annex of China sort of thing. They want to be recognized as their own independent nation. They were given by the British back to China at some point. I think in the 1980s or
Yeah.
something. So basically, the people of Hong Kong are like, "Fuck you, we're not Chinese. We're from Hong Kong." China's like, "No, they're ours."
Yeah.
And kind of like with Taiwan.
Well, then Britain was like, hey, we'll give like some citizenship to or amnesty or something.
I'm sure, because yeah, we've had a really good relationship with them, and they love America. They love Trump.
Oh, yeah,
they
they
are
sing our
waving the
national anthem.
flags.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, they are hardcore. And I like them for that. China or Trump, don't touch China, they asshole. Like there's that one
Yeah.
guy. He's hilarious. Just a great meme. But what Trump said is, he signed an executive order that in some way gives the power that anybody who supports the Communist Party of China is subject to like freezing of assets and a bunch of things.
Oh,
a
interesting.
very strong stance, exceptionally strong stance. So that means Hollywood. That means technology. That means Huawei.
Probably sports industry.
Sports, yeah. NBA, Tim Pool's podcast, they were trying to put Free Hong Kong as the name on the back of a jersey, and you could put Free Hong Kong and Free Hong Cough, but you couldn't put Free Hong Kong. It would
man.
error out. Yeah.
That's
So
pretty good.
yes, hilarious.
But that's the thing, like, legislation down the road, it's almost like the government and the office of the presidency is almost like this amazing D&D sword. It's like Sword of Chaos +5, right?
If
And then-
used
and again,
correctly.
anyone can pick up that sword and use it. It doesn't have an alignment. It's just a sword.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, one thing I always say to people is just like, if you're upset about Donald Trump, you need to be upset at Obama. You need to be upset at George W. You need to be upset at Bill Clinton and George Sr. And like everybody came before, because it's all been, that sword has been imbued with gems and runes, special flames, everything else. So whoever gets in there can just pick that thing up and start swinging it, especially with the executive orders and everything else that's been done. People are like, how does he have this power? I'm like, well, the presidents before gave that office that power, and especially things like the National Defense Act and things like that. As far as you can be declared, once you're declared an enemy combatant, you have no rights. You have no. You can be imprisoned indefinitely.
Well, and I think, classifying people as terrorist organizations, so you can freeze assets of theirs, so you can, hold them for longer than 48 hours, so that investigations, all that fun stuff. I agree with it. And honestly, I think you elect a president, whether you like that president or not, that president was elected by your country. Deal with it. Like when Obama was elected, I wasn't a big fan because I felt like he was all talk and not, and the things that he did take action on were not beneficial to us. I felt that it was more of a, globalization sort of thing where he's trying to placate the world and China, and our country is suffering, and then look, it's a lot of stuff, but more journalists arrested than any other, or detained than any other president, way more than Trump, more war, more drone strikes, more of all these things during Obama's administration. Yet he was the media loved him because he was their darling, whatever, which is fine, but they're just a bunch of bullshit shitbags, oh, what was your favorite part of your vacation? Can you ask them any fucking hard-hitting questions about why China's taking all our fucking money and not paying any taxes with their imports? No tariffs, no nothing.
Right.
I mean, North Korea's just doing whatever the fuck they want, So, when you give somebody that executive authority, you have to be okay with it, and you can speak out against it, and that's fine, but you have to let that person do their job because they're the fucking leader of the country. You're not, like you're the leader of the country in the way that you get to vote and you get to speak your mind, freedom of speech. You can't take that away except with intersectionalism, because your voice doesn't count because it doesn't agree with us. So we just cut you off of society, throw you in a gulag, and and the thing about it that makes me sick about the Democratic Party is just how they're, Pelosi's on her knees down in the, whatever. She's too old. She can't even fucking get up off her knee. Biden's placating them by basically trying to give them what they want. The thing is, there's no end to it.
Exactly.
You give them a demand, and then they want the next demand, and then they want the next demand. And guess what? 47 days later, your city's still burning. When you didn't arrest them, you haven't charged them, you haven't done all that. And I'm sure you're familiar with George Soros and all of his district attorneys that are put into these positions in Chicago and in all the cities that aren't. I mean, in a lot of places, you probably didn't have to pay a lot of money because the asshole voters there voted them in, because they love everybody to be free and there's no real criminals in the world. There's just oppressed people, Yeah,
so. It's really, we're just living in these marvelous weird times.
Yeah,
like,
it's amazing.
You watch it just unfold, and it's like oh, it's a movie, but I'm actually in the movie. I'm on the Jumanji board.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, but I'm on the Jumanji board.
It unfolds like a taco full of feces.
Yeah, pretty much. So I was like, is that
it's
human
a pretty easy
flesh? Is it bone? Is it calf? I don't know. I'll eat it.
I mean, I'm all for revolution if it makes sense. This is nonsensical. And they're fighting against things that aren't issues.
Yeah.
Genuine issues.
Well, and again, like, I I think that like I was telling Libertarian Steve this, and I've told a couple of my other friends this. Like there's, before COVID happened, like months before, like I had been talking to one of my therapist buddies who's an energy worker, and like one of these people that like are really, like energetically attuned, like, and part of being like a body worker and a massage therapist and stuff like that, especially like an empath. I'm a little bit of an intuitive empath. I don't know. I feel stuff. Dude, we're not done. There is something else big coming. I don't know what it is, but I can just tell you, like, I can just feel it. Like we've been primed and prepped, and I feel like some of this stuff, like again, COVID is very real. It is very contagious. For some reason, it can kill younger people. It's mostly killing older people, and the death rate is under 1% for the time being. I am personally someone that, from everything I've read and listened to, like I feel like maybe it was a natural virus at one time, but I feel like it's been messed with in a lab because of the way it's
Absolutely
behaving.
It was. Yeah.
And if that's the case, then all bets are off. We don't know what this thing's gonna do.
I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking. It was Brett Weinstein.
Dude, yeah, that guy has said the most concise things about the virus that I've heard so far. And
one of his big things was that it thrives in fluorescent light and it dies in UV light. It was created in a lab.
Yes.
It was manipulated in a lab, at least.
And
which absolutely makes sense, because you're like, oh, there was bats next to dogs, and somebody ate one, and then now we have a worldwide pandemic. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
And here's the thing to consider about pandemics. If you're creating a virus, it's very difficult to do, because either it is exceptionally deadly and it kills itself out. So if it went from me to you, but it was so deadly that you dropped dead, Roma wouldn't get it.
Exactly.
If it is not deadly enough, it spreads to everybody but doesn't kill enough people, So you have to fine tune it so that it kills people in a certain amount of time, and then also that it's
transmissible.
Transmission, yes, the transmission, how transmissible it is. So it's exceptionally hard, and the fact that viruses can change over and over and over again. So it's pretty crazy, and here's the thing too: is you look at it, it came from China, right? There, a lot of our Harvard people, like there was that Harvard professor that was arrested for espionage, because he was taking stuff over to Wuhan, and they're talking about a lot of like professors that live in San Francisco, live in all these very affluent areas. They're professors. They're not making all that much money. How are they living in these places? Well, they get subsidized by Chinese companies.
For research purposes.
Yes, for research,
for
of course.
Grant money.
Yeah. And I'm sure the liberal institutions that they work with are okay with that. Oh, you're bringing money to the schools or whatever. The problem is that now they're embedded. These people owe them, and like Yuri Bezmenov, he was saying, hey, the easiest people are those prideful politicians professors. He's like, because they're the biggest useful idiots, because they think that we're bringing them over because they're so brilliant. He's like, no, we're just bringing them over, giving them a vacation in Russia, everything paid for. We program them, send them back, and suddenly they're singing the praises of communism. Just like when you go to North Korea and they
just
show
like
you
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Bernie Sanders, I never even thought of that. That's a great example. Jesus, he's still singing about it. Had his honeymoon over there. Oh, it's the greatest place I've ever been. Sorry, that was Nixon-y too.
But that's the thing. It's like they're like all this. There's something much bigger coming, and I don't know what it's going to be, but I could just feel it. Like
I am once again asking for your financial support.
Patreon.com/A Sensible Sociopath Podcast.
Nice.
Sorry.
But like I feel like there's something bigger coming. Like I don't know if it's like a natural disaster or like there's just something else that like I feel like I'm a big football fan. Like everything that's happened from like January to now has been like trick plays, flea flicker, Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Like, cause people are just like, how absurd is it getting? It's like this weird. It started. I think I said this like before. It's like this weird. It's like an awkward birthday party with a clown, and it's like turned into Stephen King's It. Like, and it's just like it keeps going, and like meanwhile, like aliens were thrown into the mix by the Pentagon in the middle of all this stuff.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
There was a little dabbling in there.
Yeah. Well, and like in Brazil, like they had this big. I think it was like a month, maybe a month or two ago. They had this huge sighting.
I think Roma showed us something over Houston, some lights over Houston, and some, it happened in like 3 different places at the same time.
Yeah.
Might have been different than what you were talking about.
But in Brazil, like apparently there was like some kind of a sky battle, like military was involved, possibly U.S. military, but the whole
Sky
village
battle.
of whatever happened in Brazil.
I missed that one.
Yeah, you should look at it. It's actually pretty fascinating.
Roma, look up Sky Battle. No, I mean you don't have to now, but we should bring this up at some point.
Yeah, like it's again, like it was there and then it was gone. It's just like, well, what is going on? Like there's so many moving pieces that the average citizen, even if you're smart, you can't tell what's going on.
I'm smart. I can tell.
Thank God someone understands.
Yeah. Do you believe we're at a Cold War with China?
Yeah.
Do you believe we're at a cold civil war? Let's say a civil war in our country right now.
I think we're at civil conflict.
Okay.
I don't think we're there yet. I think
there hasn't been an official declaration.
There's been no Fort Sumter
between Parler and Twitter.
Right. George Floyd was kind of like a Fort Sumter-esque event, but until like once the Boogaloo 3%er, I probably just got your video banned. Sorry, that Boogaloo term, they don't like it for whatever reason.
Yeah,
like the
thanks
Boogaloo
for saying it
3%ers.
Twice. Thanks for saying it 3 times.
No problem. They, oh man, now it's better.
Yep.
It's better.
Yep.
Once there's a clash like that where BLM and /Antifa /whoever clashes with like the incels and like the 3%, like then. Once there's like shots fired, like we'll be in it. And again, it's not going to be one side versus it's going to be like an 8-faction like melee slugfest, and the rest of us are just going to have to pack heat to go to the grocery store.
The B boys, the Boogaloo boys, actually they were marching with BLM, and I'm sure you may have seen it.
I did
Most
see
people
that,
didn't.
yeah.
But they actually marched with the lowercase BLM people because they're against police brutality,
Sure,
and they're most of them are just libertarian dudes that wear Hawaiian shirts and gear up in their fucking firearms. And what's funny is that the lowercase BLM people had ARs too. They went walking down. There's pictures of them walking down the street together. Just that is a peaceful protest.
Right.
People armed to the teeth with, assault weapons.
Well, remember that like second? I think it was earlier this year, or like maybe it was in 2019, like when they had like the Virginia Second Amendment rally.
Yeah.
Like you had Black Panther, like Antifa, the 3%ers, like all those people marching hand in hand because they all realized, even though they may have completely different ideologies, the way of the gun is the way of the United States.
Yeah.
And without that, like the only reason we're at where we're at, in my opinion, is because we have 500 million guns for 333 million citizens and over 1 trillion rounds of ammunition. Like no one wants to come in here.
It's never enough though.
No,
Not in my mind.
No other country in their right mind wants to come in here because they know, they know that we're armed to the freaking teeth.
Well, and I think that with China, I think that a lot of the things that are going on are efforts to demoralize, because, what was it? I was looking up Chinese censorship, and this is something we're going to talk about in a future episode. And actually, if you want to join in, if we could all do a little research on China. But they were talking about how they have 2 million censors, internet censors. So they are like agents that go through and look for political so, the KGB has their like propaganda team. I'm like, I wonder how many China has. If they have 2 million people just searching for political like speech in their internet, because it's the most controlled internet. I think they have like 60 regulations over the internet in China. And of course, Google jumps right in because they want to give them, hey, you've got money. We'll absolutely censor your people.
Yep.
We'll absolutely shut down freedom of thought. Totally. We're whores. Google.
Yeah.
We're on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. They're fun. I do like their products though. Google Sheets, Google Docs, good stuff.
Google Glasses?
I didn't have one.
They weren't a big hit.
No. But no, like
Google Glass dildos?
those probably would be a little invasive.
Yeah.
Probably more so than the ads that you would get.
Mm-hmm.
Or the ads that you would get because you were using the
Yeah,
Google dildo.
it's all...
We saw basically
and then
the
it
inside
stops,
of your vagina.
and it's all
your
Mazda 626.
Yeah.
You're like, God damn it, I gotta skip.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But no, like there's all these moving pieces going on, really in and out. Especially the Google dildo, in and out, moving pieces.
Exactly. Plug it in,
Yeah,
Glade.
exactly. Like there's just so many things that are moving that it's just like the people are like, oh, it's all over.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm
They just give it up?
I guess, like, and like the virus, there's a lot of people that have, as you know, like the Karens and the Kevins, like with the virus. I'm like, dude, to say that, like, everything, well, my cousin's a nurse, so therefore, and she says the masks are bullshit. And it's just like, look, like there's a piece of science and a slice of a study for everyone to fit your viewpoint. For everyone.
I've got a law degree.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody does.
It's one of my Karen buttons.
Yeah. Like they
Thanks for doing this.
Oh,
Thanks.
Dude, I love watching Karen's meltdown. It's the funnest.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fun, and it's just these people that are just like, oh, I know everything. Clearly we know what the pandemic is. This is just a hoax, and it's killing X amount of people and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, again, if you believe what I believe and what you believe, if this came out of a lab, dude, all bets are off.
Yeah,
you have no idea what this thing's gonna do.
True.
Any scientist, any doctor, any person is just like, I got it all figured out. I'm like, you don't know shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, look, and the masks, like I have read, especially in my field, right? It's a big point of contention. I know some massage therapists, like, it's bullshit. Like, it doesn't do any good. It's hurting us. It's hurting us to breathe our own CO2. It's hurting us. Like,
Well, I don't think it's good for us. That's for sure.
Look, like there again, there's a scientist, there's a doctor that like you can get on either side of the coin that can say that, right? If you're wearing that cloth mask, like my sessions are really intense. Like I do a lot of like physical stuff, like active resistive technique, like active engagement technique, cross fiber friction, deep tissue, sports. I'm moving around. It's not this slow, like, let's light a vanilla candle, fart, and like glide around. Like I do shit. Like
I do shit.
I get stuff done.
Yeah.
Like they, like.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just like we're not playing around. Like all my clients tell you, like, dude, like people are like, oh, you're going to get a massage, and like my clients are like, no, you don't understand. It's gonna be work. Like I'm gonna get worked over. Like I tried working at N95 and I came back, dude, and that was a problem.
Oh yeah.
Working on the N95 like that was too hard. I was winded after a couple sessions.
Okay.
It was brutal.
Let me interject here. So I studied chemistry. I did pre-med stuff. I read a lot of things.
A&P background. Okay.
I like a little bit of things. So first of all, the N95 isn't good unless you are fitted for it. If you can smell anything while you're wearing it, it's not doing the trick,
Yep.
So I think what the CDC recommendations are, and, they're the best thing that we have, whether or not I 100% agree that they are the leading authority on things, they're better than the WHO. That's for goddamn sure, because they're not, completely funded by, China or subsidized by China. However, they say that if you're unmasked and you're in a closed environment with someone that has it, let's say you have a podcast, and let's say there's a host that didn't tell everyone that he's been exposed numerous times. Yeah, breathing deep, gasp. So, that's when you're in trouble, and that's part of that like fluorescent thing, no UV light thing. So as far as the CO2, so our bodies run off of oxygen. We do not, there's something called chemoreceptors in our body. So what chemoreceptors do is they measure the amount of chemicals in your body of certain types. CO2 is a very high one for us because CO2 creates acidity in your body, and that's part of the carbonic acid. It's kind of like a circular carbonic acid thing. So your metabolism creates carbonic acid, and then that breaks down into bicarbonate and like water and CO2. And so we expel CO2 as our body does metabolism. So the more you work out, the harder you're working, the more CO2 you produce. People tend to freak out and get anxiety when they hyperventilate. So they're releasing too much CO2. So one of the important things, and actually this was just on Joe Rogan too, they were talking with he's like a scientist that studies things, and he studied breathing for like years. That's all he studied was like breathing through your nose rather than your mouth. He was like even race shaping his face basically. So what he was saying though is that that we need to breathe less a lot of the time, or hold our breath longer. So like breathe 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And so you're retaining some of that CO2. So actually, if nothing else, this might actually be good for us.
Interesting.
You know, wearing masks.
But so have you ever heard of, I believe it's called, is it 4-7-8 breathing?
There's a lot of different.
So the idea of it being, and I apologize to the world of the internet if I got the numbers wrong, but essentially you breathe in for like 4 seconds, big as much as you can pack in, hold it for 7 seconds, and then release for 8. You can literally take yourself out of fight or flight by doing this, and it works. Yeah. I do it all the time. Like sometimes my brain gets going too fast, and I'll do it. If I do it 5 times, by the 4th time, I'm like feeling a whole heck of a lot better.
You remember those old cartoons where they would breathe into the bag?
Into the bag, yes. Yep.
That's because you're trapping your carbon dioxide and you're breathing it back in, recycling carbon dioxide.
Right.
And so you're.
And so the idea, so the N95, like what you said is right. If you're not fitted for it correctly, it's just not as effective as it could be.
Yeah, and it's too thick. It's just too goddamn.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, and again, like, I worked with it for about a week and a half. Yeah. And I couldn't do it.
If you're massaging someone who is sick, sure.
Yes.
Do it.
Yep. But you shouldn't be massaging anyone who's sick anyway.
Well,
contraindicated.
That would be dumb of you, but I guess if they pay you that extra $200,
right? I'm like, oh well, you know,
gotta make the rent.
I gotta see if my liability insurance works.
Yeah, exactly. I could jerk this guy off. That's or I'll go with this one.
But the idea of like
both, I mean,
that if you're wearing a cloth mask, oh, it's not good for me. It's not good for me. Dude, that cloth mask, like there's regular air getting in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Like for sure. And like they've done this study. There's a really cool study. I think it was done by Florida Atlantic University. That they took up a dummy and they fitted it with an ability to do to essentially simulate the droplets, right? And they put the different masks on it to show, even like the surgical, like the paper mask. Stop some of those particles, right? And so if you're both wearing it, a lot of these studies will say that you're slowing down the transmission rate, and that is true.
Yeah,
that is it's true.
Yeah,
like and if you're both doing that, you're good. But these people you're breathing your own CO2. Like that cloth mask isn't. The N95, maybe you would have some kind of an argument for that, but like not with the cloth mask or the surgical mask. No way. Calm down.
And and depending on what it's made out of. Look, people are just putting bandanas on. Who cares? You're a desperado.
But it stops those big droplets, right? Like it's not. We're all gonna get this shit.
Yeah. If you live in a gang neighborhood, just be careful what color you put on.
Right. Pick a neutral color.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't be flashy.
You know what yellow means.
Yeah. Oof, yeah. Caution.
It means you're into water sports.
That gang doesn't do anything without taking a vote first. Like the yellow bandana, like that's what they're doing.
Wait, are you saying Asians?
Oh,
no,
well,
I'm just kidding.
Hey.
No. Actually, in the movie Cruising, I believe it was with Al Pacino, when you put a yellow bandana in your pocket, it means you like being pissed on.
Oh yeah, again, like I've heard that bandana thing. I don't know what that's about, but
gay bars.
Yeah, well, teach their own. A libertarian, you do you, baby, or do somebody. I don't care.
You won't force anybody to wear whatever bandana.
Whatever you want to do. Like the idea of, I was talking about the mask. Okay, so Florida Atlantic that's actually a pretty cool study to watch. There was one.
I saw one with farting and thongs.
Yeah. I'm
just kidding. I didn't see that.
I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah.
And probably on the dark web. Yeah, it goes. Yeah. And then Cisco
split it like a razor.
And then Cisco from Drew Hill's just like, I'll make a song about it someday. That's a 90s reference.
Drew Hill.
You guys are
Jesus
welcome.
Christ.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I haven't heard that.
Dude, I love 90s R&B. Yeah. Like, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
It is a guilty pleasure of mine.
I'm a genuine man.
Oh, Genuine, Boys to Men, all this shit in my car, belted with the VO.
Come on, let's
rock
do it.
All that shit. I love it. Jodeci, Freak Me Baby. Dude, like that, the fact that was on the radio back in the day, I remember junior high me being like, holy shit.
Blackstreet.
They're like, yeah.
Keith Sweat.
Dude, okay, you know that song, No Diggity?
Yeah.
That song?
No doubt.
Yeah. Like... So I remember reading something somewhere sometime. Apparently they've tested that song. Like apparently people who are like psychopaths and sociopaths like really like that song for whatever reason. I don't remember the context of where. Yeah, but like when it's in the car.
I like the way you work it.
Dude,
no diggity.
that shit is hot.
Like
I
bang,
love
bang it
90s
up.
R&B.
Yeah.
TLC, love all that shit. I love it. But we're talking about the mask. Sorry, I got really excited about 90s R&B for a second. Like.
I think it's only natural flow of conversation.
You know, no scrubs, just masks.
Okay,
that could be the song they could write.
Well, you don't want no scrubs, because scrubs are the guys that can't get no love from me.
They can't get love from me.
Yeah.
Hey, I was passenger side. Your
his best friend's ride. Yeah.
Trying to holler at me through your mask.
Yeah.
Pull that shit down.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be free for one
Yeah,
night.
what's that, an N95?
Let's be
Can't
Florida
hear you.
for a time.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the idea of like these people are just like they're coming with all these excuses. Like, oh, it's not good for me. It's not good for me. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just like, look, dude, like. It's all there, and again, you can find some Pollyanna on YouTube that like, see, I saw a doctor, and they said, dude, there are bad doctors, there are good doctors, there's mediocre doctors. Same thing with nurses, massage therapists, politicians. Like, there's all you can. There's every flavor for you out there to justify whatever you want to fucking do. My thing is, dude, why would you not? And again, there's a lot of people like, well, you're taking away my freedom, and don't get me wrong, there is a slice of that. I'm like, does the government have the power to mandate something like this? And should they have the power to mandate something like this? And there's disagreement on it for sure. And we should have those conversations. So we should talk about it.
I think locally you should.
Yeah.
Not nationally.
Yeah.
No.
You can't really
and
do
not
that.
statewide either.
Like again, it's not a law.
Like Newsom. Hey, we're shutting down every bar and every restaurant in every part of this state. It's like, really? There's not like some little towns that just haven't even heard of this? Like,
Right. Or
like
have
maybe
like
they've
2
heard
cases.
of it. Yeah, exactly. Or none.
Or none. Yeah.
There are absolutely lots of places that have none.
Not a single case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why are they forced to close now?
Yeah.
And why would a sheriff or a politician ever, allow that?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, and again, like
That's what really needs to happen is the sheriffs and the police need to just go, nope.
Well, my thing is again, like, does everyone have a fucking nana or somebody
Like
old in
banana?
your life? My dad lives with us. Like, I don't want him to get this shit. Like he's in his 70s. He's not in the best of shape. Like, and for a lot of people, is this not going to be fucking real until like Nana can't bring her famous casserole at Thanksgiving dinner because she's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like, and people are like, well, they're old anyway. There's a lot of people that are saying that. Like, you go to any chat, like any comment thread on any article, like even if it's completely unrelated, there's people just like, yeah, fuck the old people. And I'm just like, what kind of attitude is that? Like, it's just this is a shitty ass attitude. I don't like it. And it's just like it can be the other extreme, right? Where it's just like the mask shaming. I'm not going to mask shame anybody. Like, now, if you're working in close contact services, I'm real opinionated about that. Like, if you're working close contact services, like massage or hair, you should be wearing a fucking mask. Even if it's just a garbage can lid and a stick versus the COVID lion, that's better than nothing.
What if you're really good looking, though?
If you're really good looking, you can digitally print the bottom
Your
part of
own
your face onto the mask.
Holy shit,
Exactly.
that's brilliant.
Permanent smile.
Someone do that. Someone get that going.
Like,
Here, watch.
That's the thing. And like, it's real. Like, I know people in my field that are just vehemently. I mean, like, there's like a couple therapists I know that won't talk to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your personality
Well,
mostly.
I'm just
Yeah.
an ass, I guess.
Speaking of talking to you,
Yo.
any plugs before we get out of here?
Yeah. Again, you can follow me on Instagram at Armchair Libertarian if you want to. I'm really boring and don't post much there. But follow my. You should like and subscribe to my podcasts. I have 2 podcasts. One called Massage Maniac, where I do a lot of this and then throw some massage in there and talk about a muscle at the end of every episode. You can also follow that on Instagram at Massage Maniac Podcast. My other podcast is called Actor's Worst Nightmare. It's a short-form improv podcast, 10-minute episodes, 2 of them a week. You can follow me at Actors Worst Podcast on Instagram, and then like and subscribe to that as well.
Nice. Roma, you got some plugs for us?
I mean, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You're on, Twitter at Sensox Steve?
Yep.
Where else are you found?
And also Parlor, Sensox Steve. Same thing, at Sensox Steve. Just look me up. And then, we're here on
Patreon.
YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment,
Do all the above.
share with your friends.
Yep. That looks good for us.
I've got a law degree.
Oops.
I am once again asking for your financial support.
Find us on Patreon.
/ the Sensible Sociopath Podcast,
Yep.
patreon.com. And, thanks for being here for the show, everybody. We'll have to
Thanks
do
for
that
having me.
China episode soon.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be fun.
Yes. Thanks, everybody in the listening audience.
Of course. Have a good night, guys.
It's over, Johnny.
Yeah, I read a survey once that like 98% of people die.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Europe would be a fraction of the size that it is today, if not for incest.
It's over! Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!
Content and stories and whimsy and a little love.
So they say the big one's coming. For California.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Was she a great big fat person?
That's right.
Have you ever seen how many clothespins you can get on your scrotum? You ever dabbled in the dark arts?
Guess what? I don't have to fuck the goats anymore.
It's actually quite a bit of fun.
Hashtag them too. I have no control over life.
If I had a keyboard, I'd be able to help you.
What dude hasn't tried to blow himself? 8 3/4 is totally fine.
They say that you can kill yourself.
Mark Hamill as a voice actor is absolutely phenomenal.
People get really, really hostile really, really quickly.
Rape and incest.
Oh, we started talking about crazy Joe Biden and they shut us down.
I got the ultra AIDS.
Nobody's got AIDS.
You're throwing off my game with your heartbeat and your talking and your breathing.
I have had to stop using my favorite poop phrase.
Why stop at 2 atomic bombs? Why don't we just do the whole team?
Is this one of them left or right-handed coffins? Oh shit. Oh, that's a dick. Sorry, kids.
I'm airing my junk out and I'm looking bold. I've always been a fan of Evan Watson. After she turned 18.
After? That's where you and I are different, my friend.
I mean, I don't have a problem digging a hole and keeping an erection.
It's all about romance.
Texting, talking, touching.
Jumper cables and proper voltage, you could have dead baby movement.
Are you guys judgmental? Me? Not so much. Bunch of Judas Priest albums. Rob Halford's pretty badass.
Yeah, I like Judas Priest.
You know he's gay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.